EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marticher with your outlook for July 9th, 2019. Yesterday's cold front is now well off to the south, and the inverted trough that brought some showers to the region cleared out yesterday afternoon, so we had clouds giving way to sun across the entire region, and we're going to remain that way for the next couple of days. Looks like today's going to be a mostly sunny day. Temperatures are going to increase considerably from what we saw yesterday. It did finally get up at the end of the day, upper 70s to near 80 degrees, but we will be about 10 degrees higher today, with mid to upper 80s expected across the region, maybe even close to 90 degrees down here in our far southeastern areas, but mostly sunny skies today. The saving grace for today is lower humidity. So northwesterly wind, very light wind, but northwesterly nevertheless will lead to the lower humidity expected today. That will be disappearing very quickly, though, because we get to Wednesday. We are partly cloudy, winds shift to the southwest, albeit light, but still southwesterly flow will introduce some more humidity into the equation. And temperatures, more areas are going to get closer to the 90-degree mark for highs here on Wednesday. Still no precipitation expected through the day here on Wednesday, though, so sunny to partly cloudy and a little bit more humid here on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have a cold front that's going to be approaching from the west. The timing of this is still undecided, though, because this is looking at the global models very late in the day, and it doesn't show anything except for a line of storms coming into central PA, and then weakening, of course, after dark. But we get into the NAM, and you get into early afternoon, and you have a prefrontal line that's forming ahead of it. I apologize, I'm not having the high-res version yet, but it's not in range yet. But once we get the high-resolution version of the NAM, which will be tomorrow's video, we'll have a better look at this and maybe see if we can break down the timing. If this does, in fact, come through during peak heating, we could be dealing with some severe weather here with this line of storms. If it comes in later, less chance of that and more confined to central Pennsylvania and not further east. But this does move through on the NAM anyway. And keep in mind, this is max range of the NAM as well, so still not in a very comfortable situation as far as timing is concerned to be very considered reliable at this point. But this is late in the day here on Thursday, and then the actual cold front moves through overnight, but is out of here very early as it comes through. Since this is coming through later here, or earlier in the NAM, it's going to be an earlier exit as well, and that would mean extrapolated. If the NAM went beyond 84 hours, it would suggest that Friday would be completely dry. Since this is slower on the global models, though, if this ends up being correct, you have the storms coming through, maybe severe in central Pennsylvania, then weakening as they move eastward, and then this goes through the evening and overnight. Here is early Friday. Since that front is not too far removed at this point, you still have the opportunity for an isolated thunderstorm. So if you look at our local forecast, we'll have a 30% chance of an isolated thunderstorm here on Friday that would be favoring earlier rather than later. But again, if the NAM is correct, bringing that in faster, Thursday, later Thursday evening could be the day to be dealing with any kind of scattered thunderstorm activity after a partly cloudy start, and then ending overnight, and then Friday would be just fine. So we're going to work that over the next couple of days. If you look down to the southwest here, the southern southwestern portion of the screen, right here, this is a would-be tropical storm or perhaps even minimal hurricane. And for the second straight day, models are focusing on the northwestern Gulf region, which is right about here, Texas, Louisiana border or thereabout. This is not set in stone yet, and it does not look like it's going to affect our area. And the reason for that is once we get to this weekend, and we're past, this is now looking at for late Friday. Here is Saturday, and when this would make a possible landfall here Saturday evening. Somewhere, again, right in that northwestern Gulf of Mexico coastline, somewhere between maybe northeastern Texas or western Louisiana. Again, their spread of this is still considerable, considering it's a couple days away, but they're kind of honing in on this area right now for a possible landfall, and it might be as a hurricane, not just a tropical storm, but to keep a close eye on that. Every time you have one of these systems that are in a very, very warm open waters like this, and it's sitting out in the Gulf of Mexico for 72 hours, it has time to really wrap up and intensify quickly. So hurricane's certainly not ruled out, but once as we get to the weekend, here's Saturday, we're going to have a spectacular weekend. It's mostly sunny here on Saturday, mostly sunny on Sunday, and you see it makes landfall. And at the same time, we have a huge ridge that's going to be moving in over the eastern United States, and we're going to have some very hot temperatures. They're going to come in, if not Saturday, if you don't get to 90 on Saturday, you probably do on Sunday, and then it remains that way for a good 7, 8, 9 days. It's going to be a prolonged heat wave, and if you look at our header image of our website, at the very top, it says prolonged heat wave, mid-July onward. Looks like it's going to be the case, and it's looking more and more likely with each passing day, with not only the models showing that, but their respective ensembles, and everything's pretty much in agreement that we're going to have a prolonged period of heat and humidity, and a prolonged heat wave of not just 3 days like we've had like late June and maybe early July here. We're talking about consecutive days that could be more than a week long of 90 or better. So y'all wanted it. Here you go. This is you're going to get it. But because that ridge is in place, this will be forced up and over the top, I think. And we're talking about maybe having some remnant rains with that, but nothing's really showing that. As we get into next week, it's mostly hot and mostly dry pattern. I don't want to say completely dry, so we'll have some opportunities for some thunderstorms along the way here. But here's that remnant system. It's all the way out here in Missouri, and this is now looking at next Wednesday. Now, this is going to be modeled differently over the next couple days, so I don't want to get everybody excited, like, well, yep, it's definitely going to miss. I'm not saying that, but the pattern, since you have that ridge in place, if it does make landfall, it probably goes up and over the ridge, something like this, and that's going to be north of our area if it does that, and that's just using common sense right now. It's still at a range where it's a little bit, too close to just, or it's too far out to sit there and say it's going to do A, B, or C. We simply don't know that yet. We're just focusing on landfall being down here. After that, we'll deal with it when the time comes. But it does look like this ridge and heat is going to be in place all of next week. There could be a couple days where you have some, heat of the day type thunderstorms. Going to be a northwesterly flow eventually toward the end of the week. Even though temperatures are going to be 90 to 95-ish, you still could have some risk for late day storms in that upper airflow being out of the northwest. So we'll watch that closely for next week. But right now, it looks like for the majority of next week, it is below average precipitation, and we will monitor the progress of this system and see where that goes as we get into the forecast next week. But right now, it looks like just this week, the only thing we're dealing with precipitation is going to be later on Thursday or Thursday night. And then after that, it looks like a very good weekend coming up here again. We've been very lucky with the weekends, I think. Then we had a few days. Some areas got some storms here and there, but we haven't had any really washout days over the weekend. And it looks like it's going to happen again. Here again, just to recap. Here is Saturday, mostly sunny. Here is Sunday, also mostly sunny. No precipitation this weekend, and increasingly hot heading into the latter part of the weekend. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is your outlook for July 9th, 2019. Have a great Tuesday.